What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I'm going to be previewing Glass. Now, Glass releases in theaters on January 18th, 2019. So first, guys, I just want to say Happy New Year. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic start to 2019. Hopefully, you guys had a really awesome New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And welcome to the first preview on our channel for the year of 2019. It's going to be a really big year for us in a lot of ways. So let's talk about this movie, Glass. You know, I'm really excited for Glass to come out. I think that this is a thing that we don't see often in movies, seeing kind of like this universe being built, but in a very small way. And that's not a bad thing. There's in no way a bad thing about this franchise not really being the most noticeable, not really being the most well-known franchise in the world, but really completing the arc, right? Completing the trilogy of the three movies. We had Unbreakable back in 2000, and then we had Split in 2016. And you know, if you saw Split and you were born really after 2000, or really if you're just a young person overall, you know, you go see Split and you say, hey, this is a really solid movie. You know, it's not the scariest movie in the world, but it tells a really good story. It's got some really great characters. It's got a great premise. There's a lot of intrigue going on in this. And then the end of the movie happens. And I'll tell you, when I saw Split, the end of the movie happens and I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And I had to go home and then I read a bunch of stuff talking about obviously how it connects Unbreakable, it connects Bruce Willis, it connects Samuel L. Jackson. So it's bringing it all together. And I was like, oh, that's really cool for people that were around in 2000 that saw this movie. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, is overall this movie, in terms of Glass, I think it's going to be a pretty well-received film. I think M. Night is definitely back. I think he's done a really solid job with his last couple movies. Okay, he had some terrible times, and he made some terrible films, and he has his hand in terrible films. But recently, he really has started to turn around, and he's back. And again, this is he's talked about this being the film that he's wanted to make for a very long time. He's always wanted to do a sequel to Unbreakable. He always wanted to try and make this a trilogy and bring all these aspects in, and now he finally gets his chance. And look, Split was just a fantastic success. It had a budget of $9 million. That's it, and it made $278 million. So is it the biggest film in the world? No, but $278 million is quite a bit of money for a relatively unknown film. Now, it had James McAvoy, and you know, it had M. Night, but overall, this isn't a film. That wasn't a film back in 2016 that people were like circling and saying this is going to be a really good film. It's kind of a film that was like, well, can he fully come back as a great director, or is this going to kind of still be in the mediocre to slightly mediocre area? And the answer was, well, it was a really solid overall film. I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was one of the better films that came out in 2016. And like I said, here we go. So we get the cast of everybody being brought in. And I think that's a really solid cast. I mean, I want to see how Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson can kind of fuse in with James McAvoy. And I think overall, it's going to be a really cool story. I just hope that, here's the thing, here's the only worry I have, is I hope that this movie knows what it is and knows what it's trying to do and doesn't take things too crazy, okay? The reason Split worked is because of the premise that movie had, is because it took some risks, but it didn't go really far out, right? It didn't truly try and stretch things past believability, okay? It really tried to keep things in tight. It had a very small cast of characters. It had a very small environment that was taking place, and it really just revolved around the fascination of James McAvoy's character, the fascination of the story, and the small group of characters. That's why it did good. It was kind of like an indie film, but with being a kind of a big name director and a big name actor. This film really, I believe, needs to do the exact same thing. It's got more stars in it. It's the trilogy. It's the final one. It's bringing everything together. But that doesn't mean this film can go off and just try and do things that it has no point in doing. It needs to try and keep everything kind of condensed all into a small area, I think. And I think if it does that, and if it keeps everything kind of close to the chest, and it basically is like a Split 2, if it can do something like that, then I think this film is going to do really good. I don't know what the budget of this film is, but I'm going to assume that the budget's small because, again, these kind of movies really do their best when they have a very small budget, and it does way better than anybody can think. And now, while this movie, I feel like, is going to have high expectations, I do feel like the budget's going to be under $25 million, and I assume they're expecting this movie to make 200, 300, 400 million, and I think that's their goal. And, I think it's the first really big film of the year. I think this is a pretty huge film to start off January. There's really, from my perspective, not a lot of movies coming out within the first couple months. I think think Captain Marvel is the first massive movie that comes out in 2019, but Glass definitely has the opportunity to kind of come out of the gate and say, we're the biggest movie of January, we're the biggest movie of the year, until another movie dethrones us. And I think that's what Split could say back in 2016 as well. I think that was the best and biggest movie in its own right of that year until another movie dethroned it. And to have that title from such a small film, and in terms of budget, is something really, really cool. So I'm excited for Glass. I think it's going to do really, really well. I think they just need to know what the movie is and try and keep it in that constraint right there. And I think overall it's going to do really, really good. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of Glass? Are you excited for it? Did you see Split? What do you guys think of that? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys are notified on all of our uploads, and there will be a ton in 2019. We're very, very excited to get this year kicked off. Again, Happy New Year's, everybody. Hope you guys are going to enjoy 2019. I know we are, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.